Hello everybody. Welcome to my video explaining the recent news about ZeniMax Online Studios and Elder Scrolls Online, talking about the revamp of the veteran rank system into a champion system. The reason why, I know some of you are looking at this saying, well, this is what you got up on the screen. This is the EQAA system right here. What's this got to do with ESO Online? That's redundant. Well, last night in Elder Scrolls Off the Record, they had an interview with Paul Sage, and during that interview, it was stated that they were going to take part in a three-phase setup to essentially get rid of the veteran rank systems, which I completely agree with. I have no problem with. The veteran rank systems, they really only provide, very mediocre soft cap increases and the gear increases to go along with it. And to be perfectly honest, it has been proven time and time again that vet 1s can do the same stuff vet 12s can do. I mean, there are slight differences when you're talking about PvP, but in PvE a lot of vet 1s are capable of going in to the trials, which is supposed to be the current end game, and taking it on as though they were vet 12s. Obviously the system is flawed. If you're talking about an 11 rank difference having no substance, no value between the two. Some of you may disagree, and I completely respect your opinions. However, during the conversation, we asked, and they kept referring to it as a revamp into a champion system and the phases. And I'll tell you what the phases are going to be. But there was something that they said that, I kid you not, in the stream was just a complete nerdgasm. I mean, just nerds all over the place. I mean, I'm surprised the stream was still running, that it wasn't just all stuck together at some point. So the way it's supposed to work, and remember that they have said that things will change, obviously. These are their concepts and ideas. So the way it's going to work is phase 1, which is supposed to happen in the next month or two, is that they're going to remove veteran points. So veteran points are the experience you need in order to gain veteran ranks, and they're just going full on into experience points. So they're simplifying that. That right there is not going to change anything. You're still going to gain veteran ranks. If you're low level, you're still going to gain normal EXP for leveling. Nothing's going to change. You're just getting rid of veteran points, and they're going to increase the amount of EXP earned in the veteran levels, because instead of earning EXP, I mean, you earned a slight amount so that you can still level up your skill trees, but the most of the stuff that you earned were veteran points. So now all the veteran points are gone. Phase 2 is supposed to be, if I heard correctly, sometime in November. Phase 2 is going to be where they get rid of the veteran rank system altogether. So everybody becomes level 50. I know you got a million questions, and I will try to explain this as clearly as possible. Let me know if it's not clear, and I will be sure to give you what information we do have at the bottom. Also, I'm going to be linking Defatank's stream, where he will cover this and all news related to this every Saturday, every time there is a major update. But so the way this is going to work is everybody who's above veteran rank is level 50 at this point. All the gear that you've earned, all of it is going to be level 50 required. There's not going to be any weird loss of items or anything. I mean, not barring bugs, obviously, but the way that it's supposed to function is there's going to be no loss of items, no crazy, you suck now. All the veteran dungeons are still going to be the higher level dungeons. They'll all be on a level 50 scale at this point, and I couldn't tell you how the mobs are going to react or any of this, but we will all no longer have veteran ranks. At that point, the next phase is going to be the implementation of something similar to what I've got up on the screen right now. And I'm going to explain to you how this works so that you have a little bit of knowledge of why so many of us hardcore nerds just nerdgasmed all over the screen. The champion system, and we were told word for word by Zoss, Jessica Folsom. Yes, I called you out in the stream. Not in this stream, in that stream. She said, when we kept asking, what do you mean by champion system? Her exact response was, think EQAA system. Now, I refuse to believe that it's the EQ2 AA system because I'm pretty sure she would have said EQ2. Nobody calls it EQ1 except for those of us that have to remind people that there is an EverQuest 1. In the industry, it's just called EverQuest. That's all it's called. EQAA system. And this is what you're looking at. Unfortunately, it's just a photo. I can't go through each of the tabs, which really isn't all that important because there's plenty of information here to explain to you what's going on. So when you say laying them close to the EQ or think EQAA system, what the hell does that mean? Well, I'm glad you asked. So this is what you're looking at. This is the EQAA system as is now or close to now. The original EQAA system was not nearly this. Like, you did not have 28 points in combat agility. I don't even think, yeah, combat agility didn't come in until Shadows of Luckland. The EQAA system was, I want to say, I don't know, an expansion, maybe 2 expansions before that. It was small, it was minute, it was meant for the original sideways progression. The difference between the EQAA system and all the AA systems that I've seen since then is the EQAA system has no limit on how many points you can spend in this. Keep in mind, the more points you get, the more EXP you need to get them, which means the more time you got to spend. But there's never been an EQ1 player that has ever complained about how much of a grind it is to get these points, because they are just, oh my God, awesome. Like I'm having an internal nerdgasm just thinking about the EQAA system. And yes, I still play EverQuest 1. Will I stream it? Hell no, the damn thing's way too old. So a couple things to note here is, so laying them, when I get to 50, how do I change my EXP over to AAs? How do I change it over to the champion system? Or, you know, if they increase the level cap, say from, you know, 50 to 60, what if I still want AAs? What if I don't want to level right away? What if I still want to go out there and get some of these AAs that I have not gotten yet? Glad you asked. So typically the way it works is once you hit max level, all of your EXP is automatically going into AAs. Okay, there's not a special AA EXP that's earned. I think now in the way the EverQuest is set up now, you do get AA bonus experience for certain kills and certain quests and whatnot. But for the most part, everything you tell to assign, and that's where this bar right here comes in, the EXP to AA bar. So let's say you're level 48 and they've opened up some of these. A lot of these are level required, right? In the beginning, everything was, I think the lowest you could start earning was level 46. And the max level was 55, 60 when the AAs came out. It was so long ago, I don't remember, to be perfectly honest with you. But the point is that at this point in time, what was going on was, you hit level 46 and you said, now I want to earn some points in AAs, but I still want to level. Some people, a lot of people would click this plus button twice, and that would move this over to 20%. So that meant 20% of the experience you were gaining went into AA. So, you know, for every 20%, and your experience to level versus the experience required per AA point weren't the same thing. So your AA points at this point could have required, you know, let's say 2,000 points of EXP. And your level requires, you know, 220,000 or something like that. So, you know, in a few kills, you could have had 1 AA. There were times where you killed a boss and you got 1 to 2 AAs just from the boss kill because you were worth so much experience. And if you had a first time kill on a boss, you got bonus specific AA experience. Now I don't know if they're doing that in this game. I'm just pointing out that that's how this AA EXP bar functioned. So your level bar and your AA EXP bar aren't going to be the same thing. Their resource is the same. They both require the same EXP to level up, which I love because it makes you think about how you're going to go about it. And it simplifies the system as a whole. You don't have to worry about having to provide normal EXP on top of, you know, said mobs so that your weapon skill lines can still level up, or, you know, weapon abilities or any new weapon and ability stuff that they add in later on in the game. You don't have to worry about having all that stuff. It's already there. Okay? Already there. So now your max level 50. And you've got all the weapon skill line abilities and all your class abilities that you want leveled up. You can't think of anything else to level up. So you go balls into the wall into AA EXP, or champion EXP is what this game will be. These two letters right here, just think of them swapped out with champion. All right. So what happens is you get one champion point, right? And you're sitting here, you go, all right, I got 1 point. I got my first point. What do I spend it in? Well, if you notice, a lot of these things cost more than 1 point. You're not just going to get a point and then expect to spend it into, you know, traits right away. Here you got first aid's worth 1. We really didn't care. These ones, the innate agility, charisma, cold protection, these were your base. So that would be like innate magicka, innate stamina, innate health, stuff like that. That increases the base level amount of hit points you have, which means that it's not, this rate gain is not affected by soft cap. You would have to adjust the way that your points are spread on your gear, as far as health, magicka, stamina, to get out of soft caps if you're the kind of person that wants to max everything. Now, we don't know if they're going to require multiple champion points to invest into any of these abilities, or if it's just going to be, you know, at every champion point level. Well, we do know that they have said that you will have to invest the champion points into the points you want. They've also said that this is account bound, and that each character will be able to invest the points in the way that that character will utilize them. Keep in mind, all this stuff is subject to change. Just telling you what we heard last night in the Elder Scrolls Off the Record stream. You can always go back over there and see. I don't know if they post their side chat, but you can always go back over there and listen to the interview as well. It wasn't very far into the interview where they started talking about this. You might have to skip 10 minutes, but even the stuff at the beginning is good stuff to get your ears on if you're interested in what's going on with Craglorn in the very close to the future content. So, in a nutshell, the way this all works is not everything here is combat related. I mean, you have things that increase your innate run speed. You have things that increase, like right here, Hasten Origin was a warp we got. Not every class had like a warp to a bind point, or a capability to warp to bind point. I believe it was called Gate. Yeah, it was called Gate in EQ. Not every class had that. When Secrets of Fadeware came out, you know, a lot of people were upset that they didn't have something like this. This was, I don't know, 2005 when Secrets of Fadeware came out. So people were a little upset that EQ was still a little behind the times. So they gave us all Hasten Origin, which just meant people with Gate now had 2 ways to warp back home, which was fine. Gate took like 10 seconds to cast. I think Origin took 10 seconds to cast as well, but you could speed it up right here. I believe Recovery meant that it was, the cooldown was shorter, and Hasten meant that the cast time was faster. I could be wrong, but it doesn't really matter. That's EQ1 stuff. So I mean, this is basically how it functions. Some stuff is going to be combat related. You're going to find guilds out there, absolutely, they're going to say, well, you must have these things specifically. But the beauty of the EQ1 AA system is that it doesn't matter. You can get all those things and still have the stuff you want. You may, if you want to raid, like right damn now, you may have to wait to get the stuff you want if it's not stuff that they want you to have as well. But you can still have the raid required stuff as well as the stuff that you want on the side. Stuff that you find is important to your soloing or your PvP or you're crafting, you know. I mean, stuff like, you might find stuff in there like increase capability to barter with a vendor. I mean, there's all kinds of new systems coming in. So we don't even know what's going to be here by the time the AA system drops or the champion system drops. That's going to be altered or have the capability to be altered by this champion system. Another way to think of it for you Elder Scrolls only fans that have never played EQ is the way that Skyrim had their system. The way that you could spend points in just, I mean, just the total amount of badassery. That would be another way to look at this, because it's absolutely how it functions. You will find things like, I know there was there like chance to stun every time you hit a mob with a fireball, you know, making your heavy attacks more important to the cast rotation, and giving people more incentive to cast their heavy attacks. Stuff like that you found in the Skyrim system, I guarantee you'll find here. You know, I can't go into the class and archetype windows, but in these trees is things like let's say I'm a bard. Bards have a ton of fucking run speed. I apologize for the swearing. I know this is going on YouTube. I will mark it as mature for you. But so there are a ton of abilities bards had, you know, hasten run speed, which was awesome for groups. I mean, you loved it. And eventually we got this Sonatas song that you cast it anywhere, and it gave you levitation as well as run speed. Oh my goodness, you didn't have to worry about anything. It took a lot of time to get it, because there were requirements. You know, it was things like in order to get one AA tree, something out of the next AA tree, you had to have something maxed out or a set amount of items in this AA tree. So you see here combat stability. You also had in the archetype, if you were a warrior, you had advanced combat stability, which required, you know, the first 4 levels of advanced combat stability required you have 6 levels of combat stability over here. And you see the points, you know, these start to add up, and you're talking about investing time, which kept players in the game. And not once did we have anybody in EQ in any of our guilds complain about how long it took to get these, because in the reality of it, it doesn't take long. Is it a time sink? Absolutely, but it kept you in the world. It kept you playing the game. We had groups where people were max level, and we were still out there hunting and destroying enemies because we still had toy AAs we wanted. And we're talking about raiders with some of the best gear in the game, you know, 2nd and 3rd tier on a 4-tier rating system, raiders who were still out there getting things that just they loved. It had nothing to do with their rating. It had nothing to do with their combat. It was just stuff that they wanted for themselves. People like me were nerding about this. Absolutely. You give me increased run speed, if you're going to give me the capability to increase my mount's run speed or my carry bag capacity, or allow my shield, you know, a chance to, a 10% chance to block all incoming damage, or heavy armor, a chance to gain, you know, another 3 points just by taking a hit of ultimate. I mean, you talk about the type of things that they could have in this champion system. It's literally endless, and I guarantee you Zoss has thought of things that I could not even dream of. And I've lived in this EQA system. I've seen the craziest stuff in the world, and you can go and do the research on it, and you will be impressed on how SOE has come up with ways to keep players highly invested. There are players out there with more than 10,000 AAs. And it's simply because, why not? You know, why the hell not? Look at the madness that you can invest in, the beast mode that you can turn your character in by investing more time into it. So I'll say this much: expect to see some of these only active in PvE, and then some only active in PvP. Expect to see it. because you'll wind up having guys who spend a whole buttload of time in PvP, want nothing to do with PvE, and then coming in and just destroying raid bosses because of that. Or even worse, guys who only spend time in PvE, ton of time, they solo out their minds worth craziness, and they've managed to get all these combat capable, huge heavy armor bonuses, and then they go out and destroy you, and they've never stepped foot in Cyrodiil. That's not very fair for PvPers. So, expect to see some way that is mitigated. I don't envision ZOS taking 6 to 8 months to get this entire thing out there and functional. And keep in mind, they've been working on this for at least 3 months prior to this. But taking that long to get it functional and out there without them figuring out how to ensure that there's still balance, or even better yet, to ensure an easier way to balance. Because with this AA system and creating bigger soft caps but still soft caps, you're capable of providing the Templar fire staff user to do the same amount of damage as the DK fire staff user, because there are now not damage hit caps, but you've got caps on things like innate regens and innate fire damage. And I mean, you name the kind of caps that can be in place that can be expanded on now because of this champion system. So the caps can be released to a much higher level than they were, and I'm hoping they do, because the caps really do cut us at the knees right now. But just be prepared for some amazing stuff. This is further proof that the game is far from dead. It hasn't even come close to coming alive yet. And that this company right here is willing, more than willing, to scratch an idea, to say, nope, we didn't like it, scratch the idea, and come up with something that the users have said we want to see again. And I tell you, there has never been an AA system, an alternate advancement system, as in-depth and as beloved as EQ's. Of all the things that people say about EQ, and as old as the game is, the AA system is the father of all advancement systems. And so many have tried to find a way to limit it and make it more powerful at the same time, and have just created boards and boards of having to rewrite and rework all the data. I mean, how many times has WoW had to redo their system? How many times has EQ2 had to redo their system? With this system, I'm telling you, it balances itself by allowing the players to make their own decision with no limits. It's just amazing. And for people worried about God mode, just get ready for tough raids. That's all I'm saying. Thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed the information. I hope you enjoyed what ZeniMax is planning on doing. For those of you that do enjoy the game, with the rest of us, don't listen to the naysayers. The game is still very much alive. You can see it all around you and all the people trading and whatnot. If you ever have doubts, go into the Rift. For those of you that are still hating on the game or even iffy about the game, head on over to Defatank's stream, twitch.tv/Defatank, DEFATANK. I'll put it in a link in the bottom of this video, so you can go and check it out. Ask questions. If you want to go over there to troll, be warned. Laying them don't play around with trolls. The whole stream will be on you. The entire stream. So, trolls, challenge accepted.